Welcome back to the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin. This is week 5 of the NFL football season. We are kicking it off here the week for the Thursday Nighter, the NFL Thursday Night Bets podcast of the week. Stay tuned for the additional podcast that goes over the rest of the action on Sunday for week 5, going over over-unders, picks against the spread, game, player props, you name it, we're on it. If you've never joined the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast before, this is your Square Bettors podcast for the average bettor like you, the one that has the one FanDuel account or DraftKings account, or, you know, putting $5 on a game here or there, or a massive parlay that has no chance of winning, but you want to do it because the game's on TV. This is the podcast for you because yes, I want to be the best bettor I can, but realistically, I'm average, and I look at the games like you do, but I think we'll have a fun time here going through these picks. So stay tuned. Betting action is absolutely at its peak at this time. NFL is king. The Overrated Experience doesn't stop at just football. Stay tuned for more hockey, soccer, potentially MMA, other sports as we go further into fall/winter, where all the major sports are colliding at once. So a lot of playoff baseball action going on right now. I don't know if you've been following that. Yankees have taken the series with Boston. The best 2 out of 3 all games in New York. He's going to a game 3 tomorrow. And same with Cleveland and Detroit. And also San Diego, Chicago. Right now we got the Dodgers just took the lead over the Cincinnati Reds 3-2. I expect the Dodgers to kind of end it. The Cincinnati Reds are in a position where they are probably just happy to be here. And what else we got going on? College football's like going nuts too. It's the chase for, the college playoff, which is exciting. A lot of great games, a lot of great stories. Man, a lot to bet on. Let's go. So we're going to talk about the Thursday Nighter here and maybe take a look back at some of the new segment I have called Genius Dipshit. Yeah, and it's all about me. So some genius picks, some dipshit picks as I reflect back on week 4 of the betting action in the NFL. You can follow the Overrated Experience at Overrated EXPER2. That's Overrated EXPER2 on X or Overrated Experience on Instagram. We ask you to join. Let us know you've joined and you're listening to the podcast. And here we go. So, looking back at last week's action, week 4 action, we were 9 for 16 against the spreads. Some great genius picks, some not so genius picks. Got to learn from that. Over under, we were only 7 for 16, so we were only clipping at 43%. And then for props, we were at 58%, 7 for 12. So up and down. Over unders weren't our go-to last week. Spreads were a little better, but the player props, we were a little more lucky. Not gonna lucky, skilled. We have that ice cold, those down cold. So here we go for this week. To the new segment called Dipshit, Genius, Dipshit. Looking back at some of the plays. Genius! 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Minnesota Vikings in Ireland. Vikings come in as a 2.5-point favorites. Genius! Take the Steelers. They wound up winning this game. Better team. Almost choked at the end, but they were the better team. Dipshit! I said the Titans would cover over the Houston Texans. This game ended 26-0. What a dipshit. Genius! Scatterboo, running back for the New York Giants. 80 yards total, receiving and rushing. He hit that. That's a genius move. That is a great call by this guy right here. Dipshit went out on a limb. Got a little too aggressive. A little too over my skis on this one. This was Sterling Shepard, wide receiver of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I said he would hit over 37.5 yards receiving as he was hitting that mark the last couple games, 40-plus yards. He wound up with 14 yards in a situation where the Buccaneers had to throw early and often because they fell behind the Eagles right off the bat. Total dipshit. That's a dipshit. Genius. Daniel Jones of the Colts. Pick off, interception, predicted it here. Genius call by this guy right now. Daniel Jones throws 2 interceptions against the Rams. Threw that interception pretty early, by the way. Very, very genius-like from me. Dipshit, my final dipshit. And there were a few more geniuses and dipshits, but just to end this segment, because it's a pilot project, by the way. We'll see if we continue it. But dipshit, Jake Browning of the Bengals, quarterback on Monday night, to throw over, what did I say? The line at the time was 219.5 yards. Absolute dipshit on that one. He looked terrible. And I'll comment on the Cincinnati Bengals. They looked absolutely horrible. Every aspect of their game was absolutely horseshit. The offense was utterly useless. That offensive line is absolute trash. Jake Browning, I know he doesn't have much time back there, but he's not, I don't know what game plan they had in mind. He's got these little loopy, lofty passes. I have no idea what the hell he's doing. Great first drive, wind up in a field goal, and then absolute dumpster fire after that. Terrible, awful, disgusting, and defend on the D for Cincinnati. Like, what do they got going for them? Like, what did Joe Burrow hide for this team to make them, a credible football team? And that's what Joe Burrow was doing, just making them credible over the last 2 years. And without him, I can't even explain what we watched on Monday. This game was over, pass out on the couch, kind of worthy watching on Monday. Bengals, absolute crap. So that's the genius dipshit. Please let us know if you liked it, or it was just completely, crap, and I'm the dipshit. That's fine too. Some news and notes before we leave and head into the Thursday nighter. If you watched the Miami Dolphins host get a win, first win of the year over the New York Jets, we had Tyreek Hill, gruesome, dislocated knee. Man, if X didn't exist, would we get all these shots of twisted legs, ankles, hands, fingers, whatever sport it might be? Like, it's insane how fast the images, the video of Tyreek Hill sitting on the sideline with his leg going the wrong way, his ACL being torn to shreds, but how fast it gets out there, viewed by millions, and that didn't look good, especially if you had the over-under on Tyreek Hill's receiving yards. He had 67 yards up until that point, and I had the over-under on that. 68.5 yards was the over-under. And you tell me you couldn't get back out there and get 2 more? No, I'm just kidding. It was not good. Ugly for the bettors out there, but especially ugly for Tyreek Hill. And what a waste. What a waste. I was hoping, when I say waste, look, our comments are about, the players on the field. Like, off the field's a different story. You could have your opinion, whatever. This opinion is about the skill set on the field only. So I just want to be clear on that. Is that, Tyreek Hill is a premier receiver, most entertaining, one of the most entertaining players out there, and really being wasted in Miami. Yeah, he got paid in Miami, but I wonder if he regrets, adding or losing prime time years of his career, wasting away in Miami, and what's it going to look like when he comes back? So we'll see what happens there. But Tyreek Hill is out; he will not be traded. And you won't see him again until next year. Then we, just to add in as well here, just totally unrelated to last week's games, but totally unrelated to the Thursday nighter coming up or any games on Sunday. Have you checked out the Dallas Cowboys documentary? It's been on Netflix for quite a while. America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. If you're of age and you're not of age, okay, let's put it this way. If you're young, meaning 20s, 30s, and you're listening to this podcast, you probably don't understand the hype, the swagger, the focus, the attention on the Dallas Cowboys, because you've grew up with the Dallas Cowboys where they've been a joke, right? They've been a joke of a team. They're in line with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the NHL. They're in line with England, can't get the job done. When push comes to shove. All three of these, teams I just mentioned have championship history. just not recent history. So when I grew up with the watching football, getting into football a little later in my teens, this is where the 49ers and Dallas Cowboys were the two top dogs in the NFL. And the Dallas Cowboys were on the rise. I hated the Dallas Cowboys. You know, like there were serious arguments with Cowboy fans, 49er fans, Aikman fans, Steve Young fans, Jerry Rice fans, Michael Irvin fans, et cetera, et cetera. It was a time. It was the glory of these two franchises, San Fran and Dallas. And this is the peak of the rise of the Dallas Cowboys. And this documentary, which I'm like 3 episodes in, and I probably will do a show dedicated to going through the entire documentary. It talks about the Cowboys in that era, the transition from Tom Landry to Jimmy Johnson, from previous ownerships to Jerry Jones, and the transition from the Cowboys' previous glory years and then kind of, fading away to Jerry Jones bringing them back. And then we'll get, I'm assuming, to the part where after the Super Bowls, everything falls apart. The relationship with Jimmy Johnson ended, Barry Switzer coming in, a lot of things left to watch. So interesting. Take a watch and watch out for the pod I drop that does a full review in the documentary and talks about the Dallas Cowboys, the hated Dallas Cowboys, the triplets. Can you name the triplets? I'll leave that with you. Post it on X if you can, for you youngins out there that don't know the reference for the Dallas Cowboys. Now we get into a divisional matchup here on Thursday Night Football. The San Francisco 49ers head into SoFi Stadium to take on the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams coming off a victory against the Colts at home, and the 49ers, surprisingly, or is it surprisingly, coming off a home loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams 3-1. But the story here in this matchup is the injury report for the San Francisco 49ers. The spread has jumped to 7.5 in favor of the Rams. And it's not surprising to why. Brock Purdy, who came back from an injury, is out. So I guess he wasn't fully healthy when he came back to take on the Jaguars. Jennings, wide receiver, out. Ricky Pearsall, out. Wide receiver. Remember, they're also without pass rusher Nick Bosa, out for the season he's done. Kittle's out for weeks on end. They're in trouble. They are in trouble, right? They got Mac Jones, who has shown some positive results in the time he replaced Purdy the previous 2 games. And then they still have Christian McCaffrey. But they are in full, panic mode. And it's not good in San Francisco. And this 3-1, record might turn south very fast. And it's going to turn south against the 3-1 Rams on Thursday night. So as far as the spread and looking at who is going to take this one, I don't think it's a question that the Rams win this game. I think the only question is, can they cover the 7.5? And looking at that injury report, and you look at the LA Rams as an elite team, or at least a team slightly above the elites. But when you really look at it, are the Baltimore Ravens an elite team right now at 1-3 and Lamar Jackson on the sideline? Is Kansas City fully back? And we're talking about the AFC here. The Eagles look to be who we thought they were, the Super Bowl champions. But in the NFC, who else? Right? The Lions. And then maybe you put down the Rams just below that. But they're up there. Their stock is going up. San Francisco 49ers stock is leaking oil. So I don't think there's a question that there is going to be a cover here. I think the Rams easily cover the 7.5 and probably win by 10 or more points. Do I think this will be a high-scoring game? I don't think so. The over-under is 45.5. If I'm Sean McVay and you're the Rams, how do you approach this game? What is your game plan coming into this one? Do you need to come out firing? Do you need to come out throwing the ball 80 times? You will do enough, passes to your top guys, your main weapons. Puka and Devontae Adams. But isn't it in your best interest to build up that 2-score lead, that 3-score lead early, if possible, which seems very possible, and then lean on the 49ers, press so that they have to chase with their limited weapons, take them out of their comfort zone and make Mac Jones put them in a shotgun and have to just unload to a depleted receiving core? Isn't that what you want to do? And keep that clock ticking, keep the ball in the ground eventually, and make that the story. That's what I think is going to happen here. So I do believe that this game is going to finish under 45.5, and the Rams take the foot off the gas to the point where they are a little more methodical in their possession of the football and put the 49ers in an uncomfortable situation. So when we look at the player props, we got a few. We got a few here, okay? With Purdy out, Mac Jones has been a successful backup. He's in the previous 2 matches, he threw over 300 yards and 277 in his previous 2 games, starting for the 49ers. His over-under is at 216.5. I got to believe that he will be chasing majority of this game and have to put the ball in the air. So look for a 220, 225 game at least. So I think the 216.5 is low. Yes, the Rams have a top-notch defensive line. Will probably put a lot of pressure. But I got to believe Kyle Shanahan will at least provide Mac Jones an opportunity to move the ball at least somewhat in this game that they're going to be chasing, especially in the second half. From a Rams perspective, they got some weapons here, right? So I got Devontae Adams, wide receiver. He's like, how there's like a 1-2 punch here with Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua carries the load. He's going to get the volume after volume after volume. A couple 100-yard rushing game or receiving games. Throw in a rush or two that only Puka can do. And then Devontae Adams is the guy that's going to get at least a touchdown a game, at least a long pass. He's going to spell Puka, but they kind of play off each other. It's perfect. So what I got here to dial up for you guys out there is Devontae Adams, longest pass reception, over 20.5 yards, minus 122. His longs, the last 4 games, have been 25 yards, 44, 33, and 24 yards. Why would it change now? It's going to be in Matthew Stafford's hands. I think he's going to be successful. So I'll take that one. Again, Devontae Adams to score anytime touchdown, plus 110. He scored touchdowns, I think, the last three games. If not 4, that's right. I forgot to write that down. But he's definitely a guy that's not afraid of the end zone. He's going to get the job done there. And Puka, I was looking at his over-under, not just the receiving yards, but his receiving rushing yards of 102.5. And thinking, why not? Why not? Puka, time in and time again, plus 100 yards receiving, much less add in the couple rushes that he gets. I'll say take it and see what happens. So the recap, Mac Jones over 216.5 passing yards for the 49ers. 2 Devontae Adams props, one being longest reception, 20.5 yards, minus 122. Devontae Adams, anytime touchdown, plus 110. Puka Nacua, receiving plus rushing, over 102.5 yards, minus 114. Like that one. And you like your same game parlays, you greedy bastards. I know you like it. So I'm going to give it to you again. We hit on the last Thursday nighter. This one's going to be a little different because of the points I don't believe are going to be scored in this game. So I'm going to take the Rams minus 2.5. So that's an alternate spread, right? I said that they were favored by 7.5. So the alternate spread, I move it down to 2.5. As long as they win by a field goal or more, I'm happy. Add in Kyren Williams, running back for the Rams, 50-plus rushing yards. He's going to get the rock often, especially in the second half. I don't think 50 is too much to ask. And this game to go alternate under total of 54.5. So I like the game to go to under 45.5. And I really like the game to stay under 54.5. So that's your same game parlay. $100 will pay you $102, so I'll give you plus money. And I think that's going to get you a payout. At least that's my opinion. You do what you want with it. And that's it. That's our coverage of Thursday night bets, Thursday night NFL bets. Remember to follow the Overrated Experience on X at Overrated EXPER2. That is Overrated EXPER2. And the pleasure was all yours. The Overrated Experience is over and out.